Yeah, good afternoon, students. Here and there, you will have to bear with me because being the principal and an administrator, I have certain duties which are time bound. Okay, so in between also some signatures come or important phone calls come from the management or the authorities, university. I need to take them. Okay, so I hope you all understand. That if I get a little delayed here and there or in between, if I have to, keep you all on hold and fulfill those responsibilities, you will have to bear that much with me. Okay. Now, yesterday we saw that we learned things about research as such. Okay, the meaning, the definition, the types. Okay, so what is research all about? Now we have to go further. Now let me tell you all, where research is concerned, there are two things we need to understand, okay, when I am teaching you all. One is the making of the research report, okay, where you are concerned about the chapters, the content, the formulation, okay, obviously topic, problem statement, all those goes without saying, but one part is that. And the other part is to learn the theory to support those chapters. Okay, like when I say one of your chapters would be research methodology, you need to know what is research methodology. Okay, introduction becomes still easier to understand, which we shall discuss later. Literature of review, you need to know what is literature of review. If there is a chapter known by results and conclusion, okay, you need to understand what do you mean by results and conclusion, how will you derive that result and conclusion from the research. Okay, so don't get confused. There will be two parts of the thing which will be simultaneously speaking on. One, okay, the way the report will go, the project will go, okay, the otherwise we make it in a hardbound black colored embossed sheet with golden words on it, but because it is offline online, okay, for now university, as I told you in the beginning only, has not asked for a hard copy. It's all soft copy. So if it's soft copy, if it's in the PDF format, but that sequencing has to be correct. The content, the naming, the numbering has to be correct. Okay. Now the actual writing of the report is the last unit, and I shall explain you in the end. Okay. That is how do you put it forth. Okay. Data collection, it's high time you start. As say yesterday Josh told us about Maharashtrian cuisine, then he went to Goan. Now Goan is not Maharashtra, but then he went to Malwani, then he went to influence. Okay, fine. So start this brainstorming sessions in your mind and start reading something related to it. Okay, so that you find out what all work has been done and what has not been done, and you select the topic accordingly. Students, let me throw some light. Yesterday it was towards the fact end that this topic came up. Today let us do it in the beginning, okay, where I want to clear out. Please try and understand. I want to shake you all up. Okay, I cannot do it physically, fine, but I want to shake you all up and tell you all are the ones who will be selecting the topics. We are not going to give you ready-made topics. Okay, that's not research. Research is your passion, your liking, your inclination, what you want to study about. Okay, so first you have to think, okay, I am interested in this particular, say, front office related or housekeeping related or production cookery related or bakery related or confectionery related or software related in front office, IT related, marketing, sales, organizational behavior, so in organization behavior related management. So first you have to decide what is your inclination, which department calls for that attention of yours that I would like to do a research in this particular department. You give that to your counselor, and if simultaneously you have the topic in mind, the problem statement in mind, you have to share that with your guide. Okay, and they will take you further from there, of fine-tuning, of objectives. Objectives you have to think of. That is what I'm teaching you all. Okay, you all have to formulate. Fine, yeah, and it will then be fine-tuned by your guide. Right? Say there is grammatical errors, or say you have not worded it properly. Now that happens with your guide and me also. Last year, all the 272 odd or 77 odd topics went through me. Okay, so you all will go to your guide and your guide will come to me and we sit. Okay, like I gave Kainaz ma'am 1.5 hour, 2 hours slot today. 2 hours was given to Pramod sir, 2 hours was given to say Suhail sir. And 2 hours we all sat together and brainstormed your 15 topics with their objectives, hypothesis, problem statement, and I further fine-tuned it. Okay, as I told you, they know more than you. I know more than them. My guides and my research methodology, okay, experts know more than me. So like somewhere if I get stuck on a certain topic, I also take some amount of help and say, here I'm not understanding, ma'am, who's my guide, ma'am, can you just help me fine tune this further? Or does this make sense? Or do I have to make it null and void and tell him or her to select another topic? Okay, so students, the brainstorming has to be done by you all. Okay, and for that you need to read. Please read. You all are very lucky. You'll have this digital platform. Okay, wherever you are on your mobile, also at training, at work, wherever you all are now, okay, please start reading. And coming to a conclusion, we are running out of time. Okay, please keep that in mind. It is pretty late in the, according to your semester, it is fine on time, but last time we started in the 3rd semester only for the 4th semester. Repeating myself simply because there was nothing else to do. It was all online, so we had the time. Now there are many things happening simultaneously. Okay, and your practicals were also there. Fine, so we could not start these classes before. So once these classes get over, then we will, don't do that, simultaneously work on your topics. Okay, fine, and please ask questions. Okay, fine, I have a time bound theory to finish. I will go on doing that. But if you all do not ask questions, okay, the questions can be more related to your topics also, no worry. Fine, but please ask questions, otherwise this entire exercise will be futile. Yeah, the whole idea is for you to understand and select a topic and finish it off at the best of your capacity and capability. Okay, fine. Now, yesterday we saw what research is all about, preliminary definitions, meaning, types. Okay, now today is, if you see chapter wise where your project is concerned, it is research methodology. Okay, so that chapter is on. So your chapters would be introduction, review of literature or literature review, okay, or review of related literature. These are the 3 terminologies. Fine. And third becomes research methodology. Now there is a chapter of research methodology which you have to insert, which you have to put in your research project, and that is what today we are going to learn, known as research design. Okay, now research design and research methodology again is a crux, a heart of the entire research. Now, as I told you, when you find a data just like that haphazardly, okay, data means you come to know about something, you see, you observe, you study, and you write it down. Okay, that can be an essay, like how we used to write in our schools. Okay, so those would be called essays. Fine, but when you scientifically use that same topic and you scientifically go into in-depth with certain procedures and certain documentations and certain methodologies, that time it becomes a research. Now, research can be purely theoretical, as I told you. Okay, now in theoretical research, research methodology will not have a very big role play. Okay, but in applied research, when you are using primary data, and when you are making questionnaires, okay, and when you are following a procedure to come to a conclusion, a result, fine, that is the time research methodology plays a very important role. Now, what is research methodology? Before we go ahead, or research design, okay, the design of the research, which is the methodology as a chapter. Now, what is research design? Okay, research design has everything, rather, from your topic to your objective to your hypothesis, your problem statement. Okay, how are you going to fulfill those objectives? What is the population? Okay, you all are targeting from the population. What is the sampling size? What is the statistical analysis you are going to use? Okay, how are you going to interpret? What kind of study is it? Descriptive, exploratory, historical, experimental, quantitative, qualitative? All this is mentioned in research design. Okay, and hence the word scientific application, which makes a research, okay, is research design. So all the scientific applications, okay, the procedural, step-by-step sequencing applications used for a research is research design. Okay? Yeah. So going ahead with the presentation. This is the unit 2 according to your syllabi. Okay? Meaning, definition, importance, essential of a good research, and types of research design. As I told your students, there will be a lot of repetition, but that is what research is all about. Everywhere descriptive, exploratory, causal will come. Okay, those will be types of research, types of objectives, types of quantitative, qualitative. Repetition would be there. Okay, because it's all correlating. Fine. Now, what is the meaning, definition? Okay, let's start with what research design is. Research design starts with one has clarity of the topic. Okay, when does it start? Fine. When you have a clarity of the topic and upstanding of the subject after sufficient knowledge gained from the studies, literature review. This is what I told you all yesterday and I told you all just now. Okay, literature review, you need to read. So say if you want to do on, say even if it's coffee served, okay, or it's a comparison of two outlets serving coffee, or if it's pizza, or if it's a software used somewhere in two different hotels, okay, or software used in yesteryears and software used today, you have to sit and type the keywords software, hotels, hospitality, okay, and you have to start reading the reviews of that is the secondary data. So you have to read, say, yeah, Anjali ma'am has done something. Front office, Stefan sir has done a thesis. Okay, all the theses and books written by people on that topic, you have to start reading. Okay, don't only read, don't waste time only in reading. If you find something, good from that content, pick up, as I taught you that, APS style, pick up the data, okay, according to the author, the topic, and then the page number from which you're continuing. Simultaneously, you're building your literature review also. Okay, so a research problem and a research topic comes after thoroughly reading the literature review. Then you will say, ma'am, then what do I read? So that is what I'm saying. Like he said, Maharashtrian cuisine. Now he cannot read on Maharashtrian cuisine because what he came down to judge was totally different. Okay, like if you ask me, I wanted Indus Valley Harappan civilization, which I named as indigenous cuisine. I didn't get a guide. I said, okay, what to do on? Okay, I am a management guide and a management expert. Okay, director. I can correlate to hospital. Okay, tourism I can correlate. My guide told me. Then I said, okay, we are in Maharashtra. Do Maharashtra tourism. I said, okay, ma'am, tourism Maharashtra makes sense. But when it came as marketing strategies, I was like, ma'am, that's not my forte. And she was like, which university will take you? Take your topic. If it's not, because all the universities over here either are commerce, plain science-based physics, bio, zoology, or there is hospitality, no good university has. Now, I was an SNDT student. My graduation is from SVT Juhu, okay, Sir Vital Das Thakur Psychology of Home Science. So I was like, ma'am, your graduation was from there. Okay, they have Janki Devi Bajaj Institute of Management Studies. Let's target Janki Devi Bajaj. Okay, now as I was undergraduate, I 5 years I've studied there from 11th till the 15th, okay, and I've specialized from there in food science and nutrition. When my proposal went to them, okay, they considered it that as a combination of management and tourism, and they gave me under the management. So it happened, marketing strategies for. Now see my reason for getting a topic. Very weird, okay? And if you see the reason for doing PhD, one of the reasons is passion, wanting to do research for the sake of doing research, finding out, okay, which was something different for me. But in the end, I ended up as a necessity for no, if I'm a principal, I have to be doctorate. I want to complete my last study, which is the highest authority, okay, is doctorate. Fine, I have to do it. I'm missing out on years, 10 years gone after my master's. It's high time I do it. I took it up. University said yes, it all worked out. Okay, fine. Now I read on tourism. I read on many things on Maharashtra tourism, many things. And then I saw there is nothing like this. This is the gap. So nobody has really worked as marketing strategies being a bottleneck or being a problem. Okay. for the tourism not to develop in Maharashtra. And that is how came the topic and the, what do you say, the problem statement. Okay. So students, you have to start reading, which I'm telling you all from not yesterday, the last class which we had a week before or 10 days, 15 days before. Okay. And you have to come up with a topic. You can frame it roughly. We will fine tune it. Okay. But it has to come from you. And what is research design? When does it start? Once you have done literature review study, okay, and you have come to some conclusion, okay, and you have narrowed down on a problem statement. Fine. It is a process that gives direction for pursuing research, as I told you. Yeah. If you just come to know about something and you put it down on paper, that's not research. Yeah. So it is a process that gives direction to a so-called research word, na, pursuing research. It gives an approach and broad outline for doing research. You need to know exactly, okay, how you're going to go about. You can't, while doing research, you cannot say, okay, now this is exploratory. No, now this is descriptive. So I'll put descriptive. No. That thorough skeleton has to be made first, and that is what is research design. Okay. It also gives the period of research and what steps are taken to undertake the research. Okay. In general, a research design is like a blueprint for the research. It concerns how the design is implemented and how it is carried out. Okay. So many times your entire work will go down the drain if you have not selected the correct, okay, research design. Yeah, so correct research design means everything. It means the kind of research, what you are calling it. Okay, you cannot have quantitative data in your questionnaire and call it an exploratory qualitative research. Not possible. Okay, then it's wrong. The same way, the population you select. Okay, you cannot say Mumbai and then select only the suburbs, only South Mumbai, or say I'm living in Vashi, so I took Vashi, but I named it. My research says Mumbai. No, that is your research design is wrong because you framed your topic also wrongly. Your problem statement is wrong. Your entire research design is wrong. Okay. After doing that, maybe your sampling technique is not correct. Not going hand in gloves with the descriptive research. Again, you go wrong. Okay. So correlation. It has to make sense. Okay, fine. And research design is something which you have to decide in the beginning after you narrow down your topic, your problem statement, objective, and hypothesis. Once this is done, okay, then you have to sit and say, okay, now how? So it can go simultaneously also. Okay, but if not now, depending on the research design, also sometimes your objectives will change, hypothesis will change, topic little here and there, it can change. And hence, research design plays a very, very, very important role in any research, however big it may be, however small it may be. Okay. So what is the meaning of research? Research design refers to the framework of market research methods and techniques that are chosen by a researcher. Okay, so your research design will be whatever you choose. Okay, I chose, it's a descriptive study. I chose simple random sampling technique. I chose these two hypotheses. Okay, this is my problem statement. These are my objectives. All that will come in your research methodology chapter. The design that is chosen by the researchers allow them to utilize the methods that are suitable for the study and to set up their studies successfully in the future as well. Okay, as I told you that you have to select all these things in the beginning. Yeah, so you have to select, you have to come down to a problem from which to get a topic to which you relate the objectives, comes the hypothesis. Then you have to frame it that, okay, this is this kind of a research, exploratory, descriptive, what? Okay, I'm going to use these kind of questionnaires, data collection. From whom I'm going to collect the data? So the population, the percentile of population, okay, fine. Then the sampling techniques in that. Okay, how am I going to select the population sample? Randomly, stratified, cluster, what am I, quota system, what am I going to do? How? See, this is science to research. Okay, you can't randomly just say, okay, I just picked up 4 hotels in a line and they become my population study. No, it can go wrong. You have to say, okay, if I am taking suburbs and I'm taking 4 regions of the suburbs, from those 4 regions, if there are 20 restaurants serving that kind of food, if I'm taking 10% of it, so 2, so I have to select, you can't take the first 2, okay? Fine, out of 20, which 2, keeping in mind a lot of things, again, a lot of science goes over there, okay? Fine. So say one not doing so well, second one doing well, one from this locale, one from this locale. You have to justify your selection. Okay? And that is what is the meaning of research design. And if you select everything in the beginning and you formulate your design well, your future study becomes very easy. Okay? Believe me, students, I was told to do literature review. I was told to study. I was told to come up with facts. But I was not told what I told you, that every book or every data you study, you start collecting your literature review also. And there was a time I always have this part where okay, now it's copy paste, but otherwise write down. And because we never had, okay, we never had anybody giving us notes in those 5 years of my home science, okay, fine. And we never had anybody giving us a textbook, a single textbook, okay. All the 5 years we have sat in the library, okay, and referred for one topic at least 5 to 6 books without exaggeration and made our own notes. Okay, maybe that's why our generation has an edge over your generation, because you'll get a lot of ready-made stuff. Okay, fine. So that habit is there since then. Okay, and in school also we used to take a lot of notes. Yeah, so I have this habit of taking notes. So I took a lot of notes, but I didn't know from where I took it, because I didn't keep that data with me. I did not know which website I took it from, which books I took it from. I went to British Library, I started collecting. I went to SNDT, my own library, I started collecting, but I did not take the author's name. It just didn't click me. I was too raw that time after my master's, after 10 years managing all these things. And I was like, oh, and then it was after 3 or 4 months that I was told that, okay, now you start formulating a literature review to all what is collected. And I was like, I showed and said, no, but from where have you taken this? And I was like, oh my God, I didn't do that. I'm supposed to do so. What is literature? Then I started, okay, no, because nobody taught me research methodology. Believe me, research methodology was introduced once I finished 2 years of my PhD. I had to study research methodology. And I was very, very, very wrong. Which so as what is research PhD all about? Being very honest with you. Then I realized, oh my God, it will not work like this. And then I started doing my research instead of the guide telling me what to do. And then things fell in place. And believe me, out of the 100% that I had collected, I got 10% I could correlate and get the, authors and the websites. All my other work went down the drain. I had to redo it all over again. Okay, fine. So it's very essential to have a correct research design, okay, and somebody's teaching you in advance, so you have to be very alert. Whatever you read, wherever related to your topic, take down from where you have taken it. And I have taught you in the first class only, okay, how to collect that data. What all you need to know. You need to know the author, you need to know the title, you need to know the publisher, the volume, and the page numbers from which you have taken. So say you read 1 to 3 page numbers, okay? It was futile. You didn't get anything from that. But between 3 and 4, 2 page numbers, you got quite a lot, where you 4 lines, and you formulated in your own words. So then you have to say page number 3 and 4. Okay? All that has to be mentioned when you take literature review from some other book. This is secondary data. And in secondary data, to save plagiarism, I told you, you will have to give credit to the person from whose books, journal, website you have taken the data. Okay? So coming back to the design, research design refers to the overall strategy utilized to carry out research that defines a brief and logical plan to tackle and establish research questions through the collection, interpretation, analysis, and discussion of data. I told you all. Okay, see, there is a repetition because I have to put it in word format and explain to you all. Okay, but in simple terms, I told you all everything after the literature review, okay, becomes the research design, right? And the most important thing which comes in the research methodology is your title correctly mentioned, your problem statement they have to be mentioned in the research methodology. Your objectives have to be mentioned, your hypotheses have to be mentioned, and then your research design in the form of how are you going to collect the data, what are your sampling techniques, how are you going to use which statistical tools you're going to use, how are you going to interpret, okay, through that analysis, how are you going to come to a conclusion, okay, and then obviously discussing the data. Now this discussion can be with yourself, or the discussion can be with a third party, or discussion can be with your guide also, that man, so and so thing has come out, okay, fine, according to me this is the conclusion, what do you think? It's always good to have a brainstorming with one more person to come to a correct conclusion. Students, all those who are attending for the sake of attending, please do not attend, okay? Not fair. I never liked students sitting in my class and physically present, mentally absent. I prefer them not to be there, okay? Though it has been said compulsory this, that, just do not attend for the sake of attending. Don't waste. I know I will do it even for 4 and 40, but don't disturb the others, please. And those who are not understanding, ask. Okay, fine. Unless until you choose not to understand, then I can't do anything. Anyhow, the design of a study type example, research problem, hypothesis, independent, dependent variables, experimental design, and if applicable, data collection, methods, and a statistical analysis plan. A research design is a framework that has been created to find answers to research questions. Okay, simple. I am repeating again and again and again. Okay. You have a problem, you have a topic, you have to research on it, okay, and you have to come to a conclusion, some kind of a valid conclusion, okay, fine. For that conclusion, what all you will do is research design, okay, fine. Now, what is the need and importance? I already have again worded it, okay, to you all in my own words, that it is the crux. How will you know? Yes, Josh. Because you are
ma'am, I had a question that where do we have to mention the reference details? Like after the content?
Just 1 second, now 1 second. Why can't I get that? Yes, repeat please, Josh. Let me see if you are audible.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, better.
Ma'am, where do we have to mention the reference details after the details, like after the text?
Literature of review you are trying to ask? See, yes, in the literature of review, you will be mentioning the reference in the beginning. So you mention the, the format which was given to you. I shall be talking about this later also. Okay, but you mention in the beginning. So you mention the author, then the topic, okay, and you mention the publishers. That first class which we had 15 days back, the PPT has been given to them. Okay, I will share the PPT with you all. No, the first one you, Only 87 students. Achha. So you are going to share PPTs and not, but that's okay. Even if 4 are there, I'm going to teach, so that's okay. Yeah. Yeah, I will share that PPT. If I don't know if you have attended that first class. Okay, in that I explained to you all in details. Okay, if it's a website, how you pick up. If it's an book, how you pick up. If it's a journal, how you pick up. Okay, fine. And it comes in the beginning. So the author's name, the title, the publisher, the volume, and the page number. And then you start with your content, that what you got from that book, which is relevant to your study. That is literature review. Okay. In literature review, it's a must. In introduction, it's okay. You are just introduction. Again, introduction content will come from secondary data. Okay, but you need to only mention the very important, just the author, that so and so person said, if you're picking up their definition or quotes. Okay, otherwise again introduction has to be in your own words. But if you are putting a 3-liner definition, okay, said by say Dr. Rukshana Billimoria, you have to give that credit, just Dr. Rukshana Billimoria. That's it. Okay. Third is bibliography, okay, or references. That comes in the end. In a PhD thesis, it comes after every chapter, okay, and then in the end. But in your case, it will come in the end. So in the end, there will be bibliography where alphabetically, okay, say you have referred to 30, even for research methodology, people refer to books. That can also come in your bibliography. Okay, like say I'm teaching you, but you have not learned enough, and you read a book on research methodology by Kothari. It's a very famous book. So you have to give that credit also. Okay, that the research methodology content which you understood, read and understood, and I've mentioned something is from research methodology by Kothari. So bibliography will have all the books that you have referred to. Sometimes you might not take the content from there, but you have referred to it. That shows how much reference you have done. More the bibliography, better the research is. That is how it is looked at. But people can question you. Like say if I have to write at least 300 to 400 books minimum, okay, as a doctorate. I should know from which book what little I have to express that I read from. I cannot take the panel for granted. In your case, it is not so much in-depth study because it's not an in-depth, that kind of a research, not the 300, 400 page research. Okay. But say if you are naming 20, 25 books, okay, you need to have everything in the bibliography, which comes in the end after all the chapters. Okay. But in literature review, every para you write has to have from where you have picked it up. Am I clear, Josh? Or you want me to explain further?
No, ma'am, I got it.
Okay, yeah. So literature review will have Dr. Rukshana Billimoria, marketing strategies, okay, hyphen, inverted commas, marketing strategy for developing tourism in Maharashtra. Okay, there is no volume, so it's a PhD research you have to write. Okay, then you have to write Mumbai. You have to write the page numbers from where you picked up. If you're picking data from my research book, if you're doing on tourism and Maharashtra and you're picking up some data which I have, like my primary data becomes your secondary data, then you have to mention that first and then say that the author said in this that so and so, so and so, so and so thing, like that. That is literature review. Okay, so literature review will look like a bold line in bold. Okay, not only 12 font and all those things, but some capital, obviously because they are proper nouns. So capital letters, bold, and then the content starts. Again, this para is over, say 3 line. Again, one bold line will come, which will say the author, the title, the publisher, the volume, the page number, whatever is there. Okay, or a website in bold, and then what you have picked up from that website. That is how literature review is. So 2 places you will require references. Once in literature review, say 20 pages of literature review has to be minimum 25 pages in your 80 pages. And every 4-line file, and literature review cannot be from one book you pick up one full page and you write one. No, literature review is only four lines picked up from some book or some journal or some website. Okay, that is how literature review looks like. You can always go and research. Okay, you will get very easily on Google. Okay, I do not have the website just now. I'll give you all the search engines. Okay, I will share with you all the search engines from which you will get to look at few PhD or few researches. Okay, yeah. We will go ahead. What is the need and importance? If you ask me in simple words, I would say without research design, okay, you cannot go ahead with research only. Fine. It will not be called an research. It will be a theoretical research. It will not be an analytical research. Analytical research has to have a research design. So that is the most important need, and that it is not possible to use the word research if you do not have a research design, in simple words. But let's go through what the people have written and mentioned about research design. Research design is important as it notifies the arrangement of the conditions for collection and analysis of data. It also just justifies how a particular method is adopted further stating its importance. Anyhow, so in short, again, if you see a lot of repetition, it's in simple words. Okay, it is how you collect the data, how you analyze it, and how you utilize it. How you interpret it after analysis, and how you utilize it in the sense how you discuss it and conclude and come to a result. Okay. Now, what are the importance in certain people's terminology who are experts in research design? Okay, identification, development of procedures and logistical arrangements required to undertake a study. Different people, different thought processes, different words meaning the same thing, if you all see. Okay. Second, ensuring that the procedures are adequate in quality to obtain valid objectives and accurate answers to the research question. After working hard and doing a research, imagine if somebody just writes off your research and says it is null and void. And that is where the guide comes in the picture and guides you and says, you are saying this is descriptive, but my dear boy, this is not descriptive, this is causal. And causal will call for cost and effect, and that will call for some kind of statistical quantitative analysis. So don't call it qualitative. Okay, this is what is research design all about. So you have to be on the right tracks to get the correct answer for the question which you are asking. Okay, your problem statement. It is important to select the study design, then helps isolate, eliminate, or quantify the effects of different sets of variable influencing the independent variable. Now over here, when there is an influence of one variable on the other, okay, variables is nothing but, as I explained to you, okay, again, simple cause and effect. Okay, students' misbehavior, Rukshana's anger, okay, or the principal's anger. Fine, principal's anger is a dependent variable on students' misbehavior. So this is an independent variable. If the independent variable changes, okay, the dependent variable will change. But not necessary, there has to be an independent and dependent variable always in all the research. There can be only variables also. Okay, so in descriptive, you need not have both the variables. Okay, so variables are the terminologies you are using. Okay, fine. Comparison between, say, okay, like we said, two outlets, say whatever, say Starbucks, or you can even say Starbucks Kolaba, and you can say Starbucks Nepean Sea Road, okay, or Kolaba, and you can say somewhere in suburbs Andheri Starbucks, okay, and you want to compare them. That's your research. You have found out that yes, there is some meaning to it. There is a problem statement. It is different. Okay, fine. Maybe the behavior of the staff is different to the customers or the consumers. It can be that narrowed a research, but you should be confident of pulling it through. Okay, of getting the content and of getting a valid answer which can be applied to the market. Then your research is, see, students just doing it for the sake of doing to get bare minimum marks in passing is a different thing. Then all this exercise is futile and there is no need for you. So do not listen to me or hear us out, okay, just for the sake of passing. It is not going to help. Okay, very interesting. You're very lucky that you're getting something like this in such young age. Okay, I'm telling you, I learned all these things when I was 40. And believe me, it was difficult for me, okay, because whatever I studied in my masters and before, and when I did projects and entrepreneurship projects, was not even 10% of what I learned during PhD. And you are learning 25% of it just now, okay? Make an effort, make the maximum out of it. Ask questions, okay? I will also learn so much from it. Just don't like dumbos listen to it, because ma'am is speaking, we are listening, attendance over, class over. Don't do that. Okay, afterwards it's your choice. We cannot compel anybody to do anything. So that's about variables. Okay, variables play a very important role in research, fine, but it depends again on what kind of research. We will be seeing variables ahead, so don't worry. Okay, I'm going unit wise according to what is given in your syllabus. If I have to teach you all, I would have maybe changed the entire pattern, but I'm not taking that liberty. Okay, so everything is going according to what has been asked by the university. Variables we will be discussing in details later. Now, this was need and importance of a research design. Okay. Further, I have just tried to, tell you all that see what all I have picked up and worded, okay, is repetitive of the same thing. In short, trying to say that it has to be, okay, fruitful, it has to be attractive, it has to make sense. Okay, as I told you, it has to be descriptive. If it's descriptive, it's descriptive, it's qualitative. Okay, if it's descriptive, it's quantitative, then how are you justifying that? Very essential. Okay, now research design is needed. Why is it needed? Needed because it facilitates the smooth sailing of the various research operations, thereby making research as efficient as possible, yielding maximal information with minimal expenditure of efforts, time, and money. Just as for before, better economical and attractive construction of a house. Now, this is a very, very, very nice, simple example. Okay, we need a blueprint, well thought out and prepared by an expert architect. Similarly, we need a research design or a plan in advance of data collection and analysis for a research project. Okay, so say if it's a house, if you have the land and you want to make a bungalow, okay, and you have the resources, you have the money, maybe you have the laborers also. Okay, you're a civil consultant, but you're not an architect. Okay, you will need an architect to make a blueprint out of. You can randomly just build up, on 4 pillars a house. Not possible. You need to have a lot of foundation, a civil engineer. You need to have an architect. You need to have a blueprint, and then accordingly there will be supervisors. Okay, who will take the laborers and build according to the plan. Okay, now kitchen layout and plan. People who come to make the tables, the sink and all that, they don't know anything. Now it is we who have made the layout. Okay, say as principals, we had consulted somebody and there was a consultant who drew pipelines and who said, research design is that for a research to work. So for a kitchen to work, if the layout and kitchen plan is a design, for a house to come up, or for a car also has to be designed. Isn't one car different from the other? And new models go on coming. How do they differ? They differ in their design, right? So research design is something which is a blueprint for the research to be conducted. That will give you a clear picture of how we are going to move ahead. Okay. Sorry. Now, steps in research design. Okay. Again, here, let me tell you, these are the very, very, very general steps. But I have seen researches which have more steps, or certain steps are deleted also from here. Okay. But that's in rarest of the rare cases where the researcher has proved that if I conduct a research accordingly also, I will get my result because my research inclination is towards that. Okay, but in general, these are the best way to describe a research design. Okay, so define the problem. As I told you, most important thing, I would say the idea of a topic is very vague, and that will change once you decide your problem statement. So problem statement, once again, students, is nothing but to find a gap. Okay, to find something which is missing, which has not been worked upon or researched upon, that I have to, okay, capture, and that will become my problem statement, and from that I will get my topic. From that I am going to think of objectives and then the hypothesis. Okay, so define the problem, clearly define the problem. Sources of data, primary or secondary sources. Can anybody tell me what is primary source and secondary source? Come on, let us have an interactive session. Come on, students. What is primary? Very simple.
The information that we have made, and secondary data means the other person we have taken the information from.
Very good. That is
Secondary
secondary.
data. Yes.
And what is primary?
Primary data is a data which is made by us.
Very good. Which when you make a questionnaire or you observe structured, unstructured questionnaire, or you take an interview face to face, or you do a survey, okay, where you have formulated those questions and you have collected, okay, data from the market. In whatever way, from the tourists, from the customers, from the owners of the hotels, okay, or from the software providers, whichever topic, okay, that is your data, primary data. Okay, very good. I'm sorry, I don't know the name of the student who answered. Very good. I'm sorry, beta, I don't know your name, but good. Let's have such interactive sessions also. Now, techniques of data collection: survey, observation, experiment. How will you collect that data? I just said, no, interview, face-to-face, observation. These are techniques of data collection. Next come decision on the universe. Okay, so the type of population. So as I told you, it could be India, it could be east, west, north, south. It could be in west only Kolkata. I mean, it in east only Kolkata. In west, it could be only Gujarat. In Gujarat, it could be only Porbandar. In Maharashtra, it could be only Mumbai. In Mumbai, it could be only South Mumbai. In South Mumbai, it could be only Kemp's Corner or only Grant Road or only Bombay Central. This is your decision on your universe. Okay. Type of, from where do you want to collect? Okay. It could be tourists. It could be tour operators. It could be hotel owners. It could be travelers. Okay. It could be anybody and everybody, but obviously deciding on your problem and your topic, you have to correlate. These are known as stakeholders. Okay. So say if you are talking about tea, then you have to think of the stakeholders. So the stakeholders would be the people who are growing tea, people who are processing it, and people who are marketing and distributing it. Okay. So say I want to do a research keeping in mind, okay, how tea comes to the market. Assume how it reaches the market. Okay, all these are my stakeholders. I have to study all these four. So this is the universe I have selected. Now from these four, I have to again come down. Okay, and that is sample size. Yeah, students, just excuse me. I'll just give one signature. Okay. चलो उसका देखा मेरे को भेजा हुआ हाथ जोड़ के बोल रहे हैं मेरे को उसको मैंने वो नहीं दिया. Yeah, what happened? It's okay. Okay, sorry. Fine. So sample size. Fine. So now you have to decide. Now see, if this was a doctorate thesis, which I am talking about, then the sample size goes in hundreds and thousands. Okay. All put together, my sample size was 2,500. Okay, which I told you, which involved tourists, tour operators, travel agents, and MTDC officials. Okay, fine. Now for you all, it might go to 50. Fine. Or if you say, ma'am, my topic is very exploratory. Nobody has really done a lot on it. I don't have a lot of data, and it's a niche market, and I will have only 25, okay, or 20 hotel owners to. No worries, but it should be justified. It should be good primary data. Okay, so this is sample size. What percentage of the population are you going to take your samples from? Are you going to give the questionnaire or interview? If it's an individual, which you all won't be doing, okay, studying an individual, then it's just an individual, just one person. But you are going to study that one person for 6 months. Okay, and go on seeing the characteristics changes in that person or that thing or locale or whatever, and then you do your research. So different kind of a research. Okay, fine. But otherwise, you have to have, in your case, I think so, 20 should be, bare minimum questions. Nobody should go below 20. And if it is a case, you will have to prove to your guide that it's a very niche topic and you cannot get so many also. Then they will take permission from me and it will be granted. Okay, so we spoke about you have to define the problem, the source of data, technique of data collection, decision on the universe, and sample size. I hope that much is clear. If you understand this, you've understood the research design. Okay. Now, areas of data collection, the locale. Okay. Yeah. From where you are collecting the data. As I told you, the type of population over there also you have to decide. Okay, fine. If the product is making sense in a certain market, you cannot take the data from another market, right? Isn't it? Now, locale, as I told you, time factor, nature of problem, locale. So location would be very, very, very narrowed down, as I gave you example before. Yeah, like if you say availability of Malwani cuisine in Vasai, a study. This is theoretical, okay? This is not analytical. You are not going to have any applied this thing. It's not an analytical applied study. It's just a theoretical study, okay? But here you have decided that your location is, say, Vashi or Vasai, wherever, okay? Fine. A time factor would be, you already have a time factor in which you have to do things, okay? So you have to have a time factor for your data collection also. That if I have 2 months to complete my research, my data collection will be around 10 days. Okay, I have to finish my data collection in 10 days. Yeah, there will be many problems which you will face, which can be solved time to time. Okay, there are always problems. Like I collected 100 travel operators, and then it was decided that no, your sampling technique was not right. You cannot just go on collecting in a line. This is the way you're supposed to do it. I'm saying this was a technical hitch. For you all, the problem might be you went to 4, but nobody is ready to answer or nobody is ready. So then the guide can show you some other way to do so. Okay, but a good research design again has a survey done. So you will have to find out. Like somebody told me the other, the topic last year, one of the topics was really, I was like, oh my God, does he really want to do this? And the guide said, yes, ma'am, he's very adamant. And I'm like, but questionnaire, and he will, because sensitive topic. And I said, he already has hoteliers whom he has spoken to, and they are ready to give him the interview. And I was like, okay, fine. It's a win-win situation. Go ahead. Okay. Sometimes topics are such which can call for controversy. Avoid doing so. At your age and your know-how, you will not get into like that. But there were 1 or 2 topics last time which I refused to accept, and I said, no, please tell the student to think of something else. Okay, so students don't get into any controversial topics or problematic topics. We are students, okay, and we have to know our limitations and work accordingly. If we want to become socialites or if we want to become analysts, we will do that later in life, not now. Okay, I hope samajdar ko ishara kafi hai. You have understood what I'm trying to tell you all. Methods of data analysis, I told you statistical tools. For you all, it's very easy. The Google form itself, when it's filled, because your questionnaire will be in the Google form, unless and until you're thinking of an interview face-to-face and writing down, these are unstructured interviews and unstructured questionnaires, then you will have to feed in some format and get a conclusion to it through digital platform only. For us, when you talk about statistical tools, okay, there are SPSS packages, there are software packages where data is filled, data is filtered, like if it's thousands, data is filtered, and then you have to put it into a chi-square or a Likert scale or an ANOVA, and that gives you mean and deviations, and this is statistics. We will not get into it. It's not a part of your curriculum, but a PhD works at that level, okay? So methods of data analysis, statistical tools, that also comes in research design. I have to declare in the beginning only, okay, in my summary, that what all I'm going to use. So I'm going to, as I told you, in my thesis, I was of the opinion how much I knew that I'm going to use chi-square and I'm going to use Likert scale. But I ended up using ANOVA because 4 to 5 of my questions, as I told you all yesterday, turned out to be a comparison, and that cannot be, okay, statistically concluded in the other 2. It had to be ANOVA that I had to use. Okay, so these are statistical tools. Decision on resources, physical, human, financial. Okay, traveling to the 10 hotels, find a strain on you. 5 ne haan bola, 10 ne haan bola, kisi ne na bola haan. So these are, so be very practical. When you are thinking of a topic, think of all these things and then conclude your topic. Okay, time frame, very important. Okay, You cannot go on taking a very long time. Like if I had to, they were kind enough to know that I was a principal of an institute and administration plus academics plus PhD. Plus, there are other problems I wouldn't want to say here. So putting everything together, they were kind enough to give me more time than just 3 years for me to finish. But otherwise, nowadays, they are very strict. 3 years over and it becomes null and void and you have to start all over again. Okay. Somebody is asking something. Okay. Then you have preparation of a research design, which obviously is all these things put together, and approval of the research design. This is more for towards a corporate research or towards a PhD. Okay, fine. Obviously, in your case, you will have to prepare a research design, and you will have to take approval from your guide. In turn, your guide will take approval from me, and then you have to start. So, hence, students, we are running out of time. Okay, you will have to start working simultaneously. Have brainstorming session. I have also told your faculty. Have you all, is the faculty there? I want somebody to speak. Anjali ma'am, are you all collecting data on who wants to do in which topic so that we can distribute the students to the guides? I hope I am giving you all an ultimatum. Today is Tuesday. By Friday, I want this. Anjali ma'am, if you are hearing me, please convey to all the counselors. By Friday, I want from all the counselors the name of the students and their, and their departments. Okay, if nobody is there, I shall tell them. Okay, fine. Let's go ahead. Yeah. Now this is just again worded form. Okay, so there is some clarity for you. Those was in the step form. This is going a little more in depth. Okay, the problem. That is the problem statement. This is steps in research design. As I've been telling you all time and again, the first step involves the proper selection and then carefully defining your problem. As I told you, there were so many problems and topics came to me with objectives, and when it went back to the student, it had a 180 degrees change. Either it was completely wrong or it was not making sense, and certain topics only don't make sense, and I'm like, no, see, it's not as I told you an essay writing. Okay, there has to be some research inclination in the topic. So it's very essential to find a problem. Find an easy problem, find something narrowed down. Don't find anything difficult and elaborate, but let it be your work. That is all I have to say. Okay, you will feel great. You will feel you have achieved something. Wow, I did a miniature research, but it was my work and I did. And the best research is the one which has primary data. Okay, just collecting data from here and there and putting it is theoretical work. Okay, by this researcher will be unable to know what he has to search, but it should be kept in mind that the problem selected should not be unmanageable in nature. As I told you, it should be simple, not complicated or unmanageable. See, students, it's a vicious cycle. Okay, you read the you have something in mind. You start reading. Keywords are always typed, even in the Google search engines. Okay, you type those keywords and see what literature comes up. You read that, and from there you get the problem. Once you get the problem, you start putting the problem in that and then start reading the literature, and you might change your problem a little. So it is hand in glove. Sorry, excuse me. It's a vicious cycle. Okay, and there is no harm in doing so, but work quick. Okay, and you will come to know that your literature review has given you problems. Okay, and the problem has given you literature review from which you have modified and further, kind of channelized systematically your problem. Okay, that is how things happen, the right way of doing things. Objective of the study. The objective should be very clear in mind of the researcher, as this will lead to the clarity of the design and proper responses from the respondents. As I told you, okay, it's very essential to have correct objectives and correct sequencing of objectives. I'll give you an example. Okay, I want to give you all examples from the last year research, because what happens sometimes for me to come up with easy examples become difficult, simply because the wavelength matters. So I'm just going on to a student's example. Okay, an exploratory study of tea varietals in its traditions in Asia. Okay, and its traditions in Asia. Sorry. Now this was about an exploratory study. Okay, fine. Now objectives we are talking about here. Fine. What was the problem statement? Explore Asian tea varieties and its traditions. Let me tell you, this is more of an exploratory study, but it becomes very descriptive and theoretical. Okay, your primary data is very less, but let me talk about objectives over here. Okay, to study the tea traditions in Asia and to study in depth the teas in Asia. Now tell me over here, okay, it is very much relating to the topic and the problem statement. Fine. So two things. Yeah, you cannot say I'm going to study only the tea traditions in Asia. Yeah, there has to be at least two objectives. So now what is the correlation for me to study? Okay, how many teas, the in-depth study of teas in Asia, and then go on to the tradition of drinking that particular tea in different ways. Okay, fine. So the objective has to correlate to the problem and has to correlate to the topic. Now, if you talk about sequencing of objectives, then what will come first? Obviously, to study the tea traditions in Asia will not come first because you're studying the types of teas first. Okay, so and you're studying the types of teas also. These are the two objectives. So you study the in-depth teas of Asia first, and then you come to the varieties of traditions of tea in Asia. Okay, so sequencing and objectives, it has to go hand in gloves. Okay, nature of the study, research design should be very much in relation with the nature of the study which is to be carried out. Okay, which includes introduction, hypothesis, aims, data collection. Aims is objectives. Okay, data collection, statistical methods proposed for analysis and results. Now this I have kind of formulated for you, very easy. So what does the nature of the study, or rather any research design, again nature of the study is the kind of research design only, which includes all this. Okay, fine. Data sources, the various sources of the data, the information, primary, second, we have already discussed. Primary and secondary are the sources. Okay, techniques of data collection. For the collection of the required information, it sometimes becomes very necessary to use some special techniques. Okay, fine. Now, what are these techniques? As I told you, interview, face-to-face interview, telephonic interview, virtual questionnaires, just sending the questionnaires through digital. That is what you all are going to do through Google form. Because COVID is there, we wouldn't want you to run from one place to other. But there were very challenging students last year. This year, though, things have opened up. But even last year, you said, no, ma'am, we are going to go. We have the target market in place. They have said, yes, they are going to fill in the questionnaires. They took the hard copy of the questionnaires and got it filled because they wanted some unstructured interviews also. Okay, fine. You will see what is structured, unstructured later. Okay, fine. So techniques of data collection. Geographical limits, we spoke about it, okay, before. That step becomes a necessity at this point of time, as with the help of this step, research linked to the hypothesis applies only to a certain number of social groups or certain area or certain locale, okay, fine, or certain number of stakeholders. It can be anything, yeah, but certain number of stakeholders from geography, from certain part only. So the locale, the geographical limits. And basis of selection. Now, it's very, the most important thing is, why are you selecting this? There has to be a scientific reason behind it. Okay, that is what research design is all about. So selecting a proper sample acts as a very important and critical step. And this is done with the help of some mechanics like drawing a simple random sampling, stratified sampling, cluster sampling. We will be seeing this. Okay, it's a full chapter ahead. Yeah. Now, again, a different way of putting in the blueprint. Okay, fine. What should you do for the research design to be, correct in simple words? Fine. Focus on the objectives. Be flexible. Very essential. The moment you're rigid, like, this faculty sits in front of me and says, ma'am, and I lose it with the faculty. The faculty is like, but ma'am, I am not saying it. The student is very rigid. He's not ready to understand. I said, tell him that we know better than him. This cannot be the way his topic can be researched. It has to be this way. He's not understanding. If he does not understand and listen to you, then so give that edge. Okay, like at our level, we cannot even think of telling our guide anything. Okay, once or twice you can just make a point and say, but ma'am, I am thinking it like that. Can I do it this way? Please, this way. Huh? You cannot be rigid. And especially when your guide, research always is with a guide. Okay, fine. Without a mentor, nobody does research. It is essential to have somebody to show you the way at whatever level. Okay. After you are a doctorate, there is something called a delete, where you have to write some 50 articles or papers, published papers. Only then you get delete. There you are on your own if you want. Okay, because you've reached that ultimatum. Okay, but there also you can go wrong and you will not get that padvi, you will not get that designation of the delete, and all your mehnat will go down the drains. Okay, and hence a guide is very, very essential. And listen to your guide. Be flexible. You can always discuss, don't argue. Okay, be flexible, ready to change. Okay, pilot study, you don't have the time, but as I told you, there were students who had done their work and said, we are choosing this particular topic and problem statement because we know we have the target market ready. Okay, for us to get the data collected from. Okay, so that is what pilot study is, that before you really put forth a proposal, you have done your study. So research activity on a small segment of the research universe. Simple. Like say, if you're choosing out of the 100%, 10% of population, out of 10%, 1%, you have already done your pilot study on, and you have got successful results, and hence you go ahead with that 10% population. Okay. Acceptance, whatever the results may be. Maybe you had something else in mind, but you will be shocked that when your results are come, it is vice versa. Accept it. Okay. Suitability, your blueprint should be suiting your inclination towards the research. As I told you, it cannot be a miss and match. Fine. Simplicity, as simple as possible research, but in depth and your own work. Don't complicate your research. Don't use big words, complex. No, but have a meaningful research. Okay. Cost effective goes without saying. Selection of right methods, again repetitive, the same old thing. Okay, so these are the essentials of a good research. Research design is a plan to answer your research question. Repeatedly we are saying that a research method is a strategy used to implement the plan. Okay, research design and methods are different but closely related, because good research design ensures that the data you obtain will help you answer your research question more effectively. Okay, fine. So the whole idea is to get an effective data so that you get an effective result or conclusion from it. Otherwise, your entire exercise is futile. Again, coming to the, we had seen objectives. Again, research was of those kinds. The research design, obviously, because the research design is exploratory. Okay, fine. Because your objectives were exploratory, your research design became exploratory, your topic was such, so your research design has to be of some kind. As I told you, if it's theoretical research, then none of these come into question, because theoretical research does not have types. It's knowledge for the sake of knowledge, theory, big essays, according to me, in my words. Okay. Types of researches come only for applied or analytical research. Okay, so you have exploratory, descriptive, and causal. Yes, we are repeating again, but it's very essential for you to know. And I would say these are the researches from which you will select a research. All three. In fact, the third one is more difficult. Time, we're running short of time. Cause and effect calls for more time frame. Okay, so maybe the first two. Yeah. Exploratory research design is conducted for a research problem when the researcher has no past data or only a few studies for reference. Sometimes this research is informal and unstructured. It serves as a tool for initial research that provides a hypothetical or theoretical idea of the research problem. So over here, they are trying to say that exploring a market, okay, and exploring something which has not been researched upon a lot. And hence you don't have a lot of literature review. Okay, And hence what happens is your data, your primary data has to be so strong, okay, that it will cover up all those pages of research. You get me? So say if you're writing 80 pages of research, out of which introduction you have 10, 15, 25 of literature review, and the remaining you have research methodology, data collection, interpretation, conclusion, and all that. Over here, okay, imagine that 25 is out, and from that introduction, it becomes 2 pages instead of 10, 15 pages. So 80 pages, you will get maximum, say 10 pages. All the remaining has to be your work. Okay. So challenging, but exploratory sometimes have, it's not that it has a lot of secondary data, but it has a limited secondary data. I would say for your level, do not look out for a topic which does not have any secondary data. It would be difficult. Okay. Look out for an exploratory research where some amount of secondary data is there, if not lot, and the remaining you are exploring. That makes a good combination for you all. Okay. In your time frame and your wavelength and everything put together. Exploratory research survey. It is a qualitative survey. Okay. Helps answer the what, why, and how with open-ended questions. Yeah, exploring. Yeah? So it's open-ended. It is not close-ended. Okay. You are giving the person whom you are interviewing. Okay. You're giving that leeway of expressing themselves, and from there you have to conclude your data from your data and give an answer to your question. It is an unstructured. Unstructured means what? It can be unstructured, it can be semi-structured, it can be unstructured. Unstructured means you have not gone with everything that you have thought about. No. Semi-structured. Unstructured becomes again very difficult for you all. Okay, I would say in this you can use semi-structured. There is nothing wrong in that, in the sense, go with a certain frame of questions. Okay, fine, but you don't go with a questionnaire and put it in front of them. That becomes a structured questionnaire. Unstructured, you put down points and you go and you start asking, and then you can come out with more questions from their answers. Okay, so you ask a question and they give an answer, and that leads to another question which you have not thought about in your unstructured questionnaire. Okay, that is what is unstructured questionnaire. Generally, these kind of questionnaires are better if they are interviews or surveys, and not, you just pass on a Google form and they give you, fill in the data and give. Then that becomes a structured questionnaire. Okay, sorry. Okay. No pre-research is conducted to support exploratory research, and even there is no prior information available on the problem from the past research. Okay. I would say no should not be the word. In exploratory, there are researches which have, say, if for a certain topic you have 70% secondary data, for exploratory you will have 20% secondary data. Okay. I would suggest for you all, please do not go for no secondary data. It is a very difficult research again. Yeah. Main features of exploratory research, secondary research, such as reviewing available literature or data. Okay, so that's limited. Informal qualitative approaches, such as discussion with consumers, employees, management, or competitors. As I told you, these are more unstructured, face-to-face interviews or data collection. Okay, this cannot be structured interviews and exploratory, then it won't be exploratory. Okay, formal qualitative research through in-depth interviews, focus groups, projective methods, case studies, or pilot studies. Okay, you as a researcher have to be there, focus, in-depth interviews, ask face-to-face interviews, observe, see, make notes, talk to them. Okay, it can be individual, it can be a focused group. Okay, but your involvement cannot be virtual. You have to be there, kinds, that kind of an exploratory research is that kind of a research. Fine, that was exploratory research. Let us go to descriptive research. Design aims to accurately and systematically describe a population situation or a phenomenon. You have to describe, but obviously it's done systematically. It can answer what, where, when, and how questions, but not answer why questions. Why goes in more relationship, okay? Cause and effect, yeah? Why, as I told you. Why? Why? Again the same. Why am I angry? Because a student has misbehaved, okay? So that is what I'm saying. So here it answers what, where, when, and how. A descriptive research design can use a wide variety of research methods to investigate one or more variables. Okay. So here you can have more variables, the topic becomes more, in Hindi I would say pechida, more complicated. Okay. Stick to one variable for now where you all are concerned. Descriptive survey research uses surveys to gather data about varying subjects. This data aims to know the extent to which different conditions can be obtained among these subjects. For example, a researcher wants to determine the qualification of employed professionals in a particular country or area. Okay, say in a certain rural part, okay, of or say a certain urban part of say Delhi, okay, or say if not Delhi, then New Delhi. If not New Delhi, then a certain Rajouri Gardens area of Delhi. Say, I'm just giving you a hypothetical example. Okay, so I want to know what kind of qualifications are there of employed professionals. So they are employed, they are professionals, but what is the kind of qualification? Okay, how many masters, how many undergraduates, how many 12 standards, or how many professionals, in the sense how many scientists, or how many are in the military, how many in the navy, and what are their supporting qualifications. See, as I told you, research can be on anything and everything. It depends on how much you justify it. Okay, with a good research design. Yeah, so this is descriptive. Right? You can get an answer for what, where, when, okay, but not why. Yeah. The three main types of descriptive studies are case studies, naturalistic observations. That means you are there and you're observing, and surveys. Yeah. A specialty food group launches a new range of barbecue rubs, or you can say marinades. Okay. And they would like to understand what flavor of or rubs or marinades are favored by different people. Yeah. This is a descriptive study. Right. So something is newly launched and you want to study the market and you want to know which are favored. That is descriptive study. Okay. A description of how undergraduate students spend their time during summer vacation. Imagine how challenging it would be. Okay, you have to go and observe them. Now you can do that if there is a summer camp and so many students are coming. So you cannot say, the undergrad students spend their time attending a summer camp. No, in the summer camp, what all do they do? That can be a research. Yeah. Description of the junk food consumption habits of teenagers. Yeah, what is the inclination? What pushes them to do so? It's the urge, it's the energy level which is given. You know, that impromptu energy which gushes down, rushes, the anxiety which is there. With the youngsters of the generation, which triggers the junk food, the carbs. Requirement, the urges. Okay, so it can be anything. All these are descriptive studies. Fine. So exploratory, descriptive. I hope by now it's clear. We have described, we have explained it. I have explained it and I've gone through it thrice till now. Okay, in types of research, in objective types, and also in types of research design. Obviously, it correlates. Yeah. Causal. Okay, cause and effect. This, as I told you, requires time. A nice research, I would say. Very, very, very challenging, an intellectual quotient, and interesting. Passion is more in this research, I would say, of any individual, but it is time consuming. Okay. Causal research can be defined as a research method that is used to determine the cause and effect relationship between two variables. This research is used mainly to identify the cause of a given behavior. Using causal research, we decide what variations take place in an independent variable with a change in the dependent variable. Okay, so it is very essential that for you to understand, if you can come up with a topic and you can prove to us that I can do this causal effect research within this time span, we are open to the ideas. We are not saying no. Okay, so this is a relationship between an independent and a dependent variable, which we have spoken before. Causal research helps identify the causes behind the processes taking place in the system. As simple as that. Having this knowledge helps the researcher to take necessary action to fix the problem or to optimize the outcome. This is a very focused kind of a research. Okay, fine. Causal research is used when a company wants to study the behavior of their customers towards the changing price of their goods. Okay, so say a product was priced as a certain group, a product was priced as a certain amount. Okay, and now they've changed the price and they yet want to see how well is it accepted. Okay, so cause and effect. So change of price and what is the effect on the consumers. Okay. Causal research helps identify the impacts of changing the processes in existing methods. Obviously, yeah, if there is some cause and the cause is a certain kind of a change, which will call for a change in its effect also. Okay, so say first it was priced, quality was good, quantity was good, and the price was this. So it was accepted in certain way. Okay, and now the quality is the same, the quantity is the same, but the price is increased. So how well it is yet accepted? Inflation rate, okay, durance allowance is increased. There's an inflation in the market, so the raw product prices increase. So they have to increase the price of the product, but how well it is accepted is the effect of the cause of the raise of the price of the product. Okay, so cause and effect. More examples. To check the performance or effectiveness of a new advertising campaign to decide whether to continue or not. So you see all these advertisements, okay? And when I had studied my thesis, one of the things was that Maharashtrian advertisement of Maharashtra is not that catchy. And that time MTDC was talking about Madhuri Dixit and how Amitabh Bachchan was there for Rajasthan and others. And you see, a celebrity has to be there. And then they came up with an ad which had all the singers and all that. But till now, any ad of Maharashtra tourism is not that catchy and that kind of a recall value like the others. Bhale Padharo Mare Desh and all that. You cannot remember anything of Maharashtra tourism ad. So the ad has to be effective. But the ad was not effective. Now I do not see TV so much, so I don't know. Okay, but we don't see that ad coming very often. Okay, because it was not effective. So cause and effect. Okay, to measure the improvement in the performance of employees after providing them training on a new skill. Again, cause and effect. Okay, first training was not given and they were doing something. Now training is given and they're doing the same thing. Cause and effect. Okay, to examine the effects of rebranding initiative based on the levels of loyalty of customer. Let's not get into this, a little complicated, but it means again the same thing. Okay, fine. That if you are making a certain change, which is a cause of the change bringing about, which is an effect, okay, of the cause. Right? I hope I'm clear on that. So far, so good. This was all about research design. Okay, I would say the most important being the steps. In short, research design is nothing but this is essentials. Okay. But if you ask me, this is what is, okay, research design all about. Yeah, fine. And in this, you need to know certain things, fine. And like research designs also are of many kinds again. Okay, if it's historical design, then again it will get another. It's an ethnographical design, then another design. If it's ethnographical research, then the design is different. If it is an experimental research, okay, obviously the research design will be different. Okay, but I would say stick on to the basic qualitative and quantitative research and go ahead. Okay, as I told you again, we need to teach a certain amount of the syllabi, which I am teaching. Yeah, but for you, keep it qualitative, descriptive, exploratory, fine. Okay, yeah. Causal, again I told you, if you feel you can finish it in that much time, something crosses your mind, share it with us and we will surely take it further from there. Okay, now we leave the forum open for question and answers. Anyone, the question answers also, and then topics. I want more students to come up. If you all don't do the needful, then I will just randomly take names from the attendance. And believe me, you all are lucky enough, your topics will be decided. At least some skeleton you will get from it, you know. So do it, I would say. See, I am very not very happy with what happened last year, simply because it was the first year and most of them were more theoretical, because we ended up doing that. Students, don't do that. Okay, take applied, take simple easy topics, but take applied topics. Okay, I would just share with you all few topics. Okay, one would be, the problem statement is guest frame of mind on visiting hotels post COVID-19 is the problem statement. Okay. Topic is a detailed study on the frame of mind of guests on visiting hotels post COVID-19. Okay. Now, because you're studying a frame of mind, tell me which kind of research is this? Come on, fast. Anyone? It's not cause and effect for sure. Either it's exploratory or descriptive. Okay, though a lot of data is not available, it cannot become exploratory. It is a descriptive, because you're studying the frame of mind, you're describing a particular emotion or characteristics, or so it is a descriptive study. Okay, now see the objectives. Fine. Topic was what? A detailed study on the frame of mind of guests on visiting hotels post COVID-19. Problem statement was guests' frame of mind on visiting hotels post COVID-19. It has to correlate. Okay. Objectives, one objective. To understand what precautions guests expect hotels to take, the SOPs. What are the expectations? Okay. To understand, for that, you need to talk to the guest primary data. Okay. To understand the emotional quotient of guests while booking a hotel room, you have to frame a questionnaire where you study the emotional quotient. Okay. This is one of your seniors, okay, a topic which I'm discussing, which was obviously fine-tuned by us and all that. Yeah. And the third one, to know and understand if guests are still apprehensive on visiting hotels, even after all these SOPs which are followed. Okay. So these are the objectives to the problem statement and to the topic, from which we are looking out for certain answers like these. Okay. Now the hypothesis, we try and keep one hypothesis only for you all. If you all want to, okay, obviously not 3 and 4, but at least one hypothesis. If you have a primary data and you have a questionnaire, not necessarily all the research topics should have an hypothesis. Okay. As I told you, doctorate has to have your research topic. It's okay. But if it's there, if you're trying to prove something, then as well have an hypothesis. Okay. People are still, now see the hypothesis, people are still apprehensive on visiting hotels post COVID-19. People are not apprehensive on visiting hotels. Now, when there is an alternate, if an alternate is not, generally they say null. Okay, null comes first. So null is people, null is negative, null. People are not apprehensive on visiting hotels post COVID-19. Now, if this is not accepted, then the alternate becomes accepted. Automatically, it becomes people are still apprehensive on visiting. So this is hypothesis. Okay. Hypothesis can be by itself, or mostly it's in a relationship, has the significant relationship with. You can have such hypothesis. Okay. So rebranding of a particular product has a significant relationship with the purchase of that product. So consumers you are studying, okay, in the market. This is what research is all about. Okay. Anybody would want to share their thought processes, so we come down to narrow down to a topic. Another is variations brought about in the cuisine of Lucknow. okay, or Lucknowi cuisine and its acceptance by consumers in Mumbai. Fine. Please specify where when you're putting like this and narrow down as much as possible. Okay. The topic, this was a problem statement. Okay. The topic is Nawabi Dastarkhan, a study on variations and acceptance of Lucknowi cuisine in Mumbai. Now, this framing is very essential. Okay. Objectives were to find the prominent dishes of Lucknowi cuisine. Just what are the prominent dishes? Okay, you can do literature review from, this is secondary data. Okay, you can do literature review from books which are written on Lucknowi cuisine. Okay, and then comes the primary data to analyze the variation taken place between the traditional Lucknowi cuisine and the Lucknowi cuisine served in restaurants of Mumbai, where the stakeholders would be the owners and the customers of the restaurants of Mumbai. Okay, hypothesis. The residents of Mumbai are accepting the variation occurred in the Lucknowi cuisine. Okay, generally this is an alternative hypothesis. Null would be the residents of Mumbai have not accepted or are not accepting the various. They want a traditional Lucknowi dish. They don't want this innovation which has come about. That's the conclusion we got from the hypothesis. If one is being proved, another is not being proved. Okay, yeah. Due to modernization, variations have been brought in the Lucknowi cuisine. Even after modern adaptations, the Lucknowi cuisine remains unchanged. Hypothesis. In short, null hypothesis, we'll be studying that. Your next topic is about that. Null hypothesis is no. And automatically, if it's no does not get proved, then alternate comes. But if null gets proved, then alternate does not stand a chance at all. Okay, and there is a designated terminology how you denote the rather hypothesis. Okay, HO-H1 or HA-HB. That was the old methodology. Generally, it's HO and H1. We will be learning that in the next session. Okay, I've done a lot of speaking. Come on. At least somebody like Josh yesterday, somebody come up with a topic. Students, start discussing your topics with me, at least 1, 2, 1, 2, so that the others get ideas. I can take all the topics from here and discuss with you all, but it's not that, it's your brainstorming. Nobody? Come on, students, wake up. No questions?
No, ma'am.
As I always say, either you will have understood everything or you will have understood nothing. Anyhow, your guides, very soon, Friday, I want all the faculty. So I'm telling this to the students. Obviously, your counselors will be pushing, okay, you all to do so. By Friday, they should get. So by Thursday, all of you all should give, okay, which department. And if you have a little gist of the topic, also do so. Okay, Friday this comes. Monday, one day I take. And Monday, I distribute the students to the various guides. After which your mentors, okay, say Delcy ma'am has 15 students. Out of that, you are one of them. You will be informed that Delcy ma'am is your guide and you start working with them. Students, we are running out of time now. There is a trip coming. There are waitings going on. There are some trainings going on. You have to work simultaneously. Excuse me. And all those who are at home, all the more doing nothing, then you have to concentrate on your research. And in fact, I would expect more results from you all than the others who are doing multi-skilling. Okay? Have a great remaining half of the day. That is all I can say. God bless. Shall I leave?